Okay, welcome to episode 8 of Conversation Transfer.
We've done 7 of these. I gotta tell you, I've listened to a few.
You have?
Yeah, they suck. No, we have audio engineering crap that we need to go over.
I know that. I think I need to make my voice louder is what you're getting at, right?
Oh my God. And could you turn the volume on mine down a little bit?
Yes, I think I can, because I have them separated at first. The thing about earbuds is it sounds fine when you're listening to it through earbuds, but you say you hook it up to your truck?
I hooked it up to the radio in the truck and played it through the radio in the truck like I do my Radio Lab and Moth, and it's just like a sound engineering thing. And I'm telling you, you got to get closer to that mic.
Okay, well, maybe this episode will be
Yeah,
fixed.
well, hopefully. We're hoping.
Look at this new setup. It's kind of weird.
Just make sure you're up on that mic. Remember, I did broadcasting for almost a year.
You did? When?
You know when.
When?
Back in, 1990 or something like that. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It was a radio, and they called it Air Talent. The guy that talks on the radio.
Air Talent?
Yes, they call it Air Talent. Or on-air, or air personality, I think, was another term used. My job title at the time. So I just a hair know I know where the mic's got to be, and yours was a little farther away. So.
Okay, it's a little uncomfortably close to do.
Actually, this is about a fist's distance away. You got to get right up on the mic. See those? And these, I don't know. We're using iPhones, which obviously mine has a really good mic because.
Well, mine's newer. It's supposed to have a better mic than yours, but
I don't know.
Must be positioned in the wrong place.
I don't know. I was doing the radio broadcaster thing, and whenever I talked, got right up on the phone. So,
okay.
Hopefully that's something that's going to get worked out on this. What, the 8th episode?
This is the 8th episode. And really, I don't have an overview, which for like the first time.
Dude, the world's crazy.
Out,
I know. The world is crazy. Pick something that's going on, and we can talk about it. I mean, I'm getting.
I'd like to start lighter. And let's just talk about what we did yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Just around the house.
No, sure. Yeah, your mom wanted a fan put in, so we put in a fan. Next.
Look, there's a few details you missed.
Yeah, like 10 hours.
10 hours of work.
Running into problem after problem.
Yes, which has never happened. We put 2 fans in my bedroom and my sister's bedroom in, I think, an afternoon. Like we started after lunch and we put them both in.
The wires were already there. The box was all we did was take a light fixture and turn it into a light fixture and fan.
I went into this going, we did this 2 of them in an afternoon, so I didn't.
You didn't realize when you're doing it from scratch.
It was
on a house that's already built.
Yeah,
a little more difficult.
A little more difficult is right.
So you had to not only find where you were going to put the fan box, you had to make sure the fan box was installed on studs.
Yep.
And there were no studs where we wanted the fan, so we had to build up that area.
And it was a 2x4 running across to a 2x6 with the beams of the house came at their...
Right where we wanted the fan to go.
Where we wanted the fan, they came at their little triangle.
The truss
points.
came down, yep. It was the trusses were together, so you couldn't fit the 2x4 supporting mount there. So you had to chew that out. You were in an attic that was literally 140 degrees.
I brought a thermometer up there. I have never sweated so much in my life.
That's hotter than the sauna.
Yeah.
I don't know I think saunas are somewhere around 110, 115, maybe 120, 125. Don't quote me. I don't know. You can look it up. I mean, come on, fingers. But yeah, it was 140 degrees up there, and you had to run back and forth in the attic.
And it was I have never had a shirt stick to me like that before. It was really gross.
And then, of course, no box, so that means no wires, no switch to turn the fan on. That all had to be done in a house that was it was already constructed, so you were behind sheetrock.
Yep.
And you got a lesson in running wires when a house is built.
Well, the wires wasn't the hard part. It was all the dumb 2x4. We needed to drop it down and then drop it down more and then build a little frame outside so you could run it across and then notch it out.
Notch it so the frame would fit in there.
Yeah, and it was just annoying.
Yeah.
And hot. It probably wouldn't have been as bad if it wasn't just that hot.
No, yeah, exactly. That would have been easy if it wasn't 140 degrees. But we had pressure from the Admiral.
Yes.
She wanted a fan because she was overheating, and it was
summer.
I
get it because it's summer
it's
and
very
cooking.
warm. And, yeah. She's up there working her butt off. Yeah, so could have been done in the spring or fall, but yeah. So. There you go.
So that's what we did yesterday. Do you want to get into, I don't know, what do you want to talk about? Because, like I said, I have no
overview this time. That's fine. We're good. There's so much going on. I don't know what all you and your mom, you guys listen to stuff during the day. I hear it in blurps, like on the way home. I just think that maybe we will get somewhere with all that's going on. This is a big historical event, and there's lots of other historical events that have changed the world, and maybe we're ready for some world changing.
Well, we did do the apocalypse last episode, COVID-19, so...
Right.
Are you trying to build off that, or are you...
No, I don't know. There's a lot of politics involved in what's happening right now with I can't see it. I don't have glasses.
Oh, okay.
So, just spit it out.
I was just wondering if you thought this was good. I'm currently uploading an episode for this weekend. Of course, we're ahead, but...
you're talking about, chip on your brain. That sounds fine.
Chip in your brain.
Yep.
We're uploading that one today.
Yep.
There's my tags if you can read them.
I can't, but I trust you.
Okay. So I'm going to just tell you I'm going to publish it. That was all wave. But keep going with your thoughts.
I don't have thoughts.
You were talking about something about politics in today's setting.
Well, what do you think? What the latest is, here we are. We're going to have to go back to school. Here we are, cases in hospitals, as reported on your legacy media, hospitals are almost at capacity again. We're a month away from going back to school.
Yep. Here's where things don't make sense to me. I like to think of things scientifically, logically. It's just hard for me because I know there's the mainstream media, which I know you're bamboozled by that all the time. Mainstream media this, mainstream media that. But the media that people typically listen to is feeding everybody with such polarized ideas that where is the science? Where is the logic in all this?
It's being thrown out. It's not, it's being chastised.
How do you find it though? That's the problem.
You have to use your web. You've got to go to the scientific web pages. You got to go to the CDC's website.
Tell me I know scientific web pages, but tell me one that it hasn't been overtaken by a political, typically, opinion.
I'll tell you, here's the things. When it comes to answering that question, I think I can tell you the ones that definitely have.
But
it's hard. It's hard to really know which ones haven't, because there could be charlatans in there walking a real fine line of, I want my political opinion out there, but I want it to be in science. I mean, remember, science are smart guys, so they could be manipulating things smartly.
Exactly.
There are some organizations, I'll tell you, the American Pediatric Society, whatever it is, that guy is just a young Trump spewing off idiocy. He sounds smart, but then he keeps talking, and you're all like, my God, it sounds like he's talking like Donald Trump right out his ass. So that guy is definitely political. I don't know.
And that was just school-wise.
Yeah, that was just based on the school.
Because he was telling, students need to go back to school.
No, he's like looking for a job in the next Trump administration. That guy is.
How do you know this?
Just listen to him.
Well,
just listen to him.
I know you're trying to make that comparison, but who knows if he's really... You're not saying he's really doing that, because there's nothing that suggests that.
Let's just say I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. You're just making that he sounds like he wants...
I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes the next... what's the head doctor?
Fauci?
No, the doctor. He was... shoot, I can't even remember what they're called. It's the secretary of the medicine. What's that guy?
I have no idea.
Yeah, he has a title, and I don't know what he's called. I remember Admiral Kuntz was the last real medical secretary person that I paid attention to. I think it's, they're usually a military person, but I don't know. That's what that guy is. He wants that job. He wants to be the secretary of medicine.
That's what you think?
I think so.
Well, he's not talking medically. The point he was trying to make is that there's a mental health risk in kids not going back to school. And that's why he was fighting for them to go back to school. Where he went, that's a scientific view. That's very true. There is mental health of kids. Socialization. They need to go back to school, right? Here's where, he goes political. It's less than the risk of getting the virus.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. I think all of his reasons.
Is death less than a risk of having a little depressing times? A month where you're kind of sad because you haven't seen anybody,
right?
Or several months But here's the thing: technology has also progressed so much to where we're recording this on our phones, and from personal experience of being in the classroom, all kids do to talk to each other when they're in the classroom.
From personal experience.
From personal experience.
Your personal experience.
Yes, from going to school.
A kid in school.
Is Snapchat or Instagram.
There you go.
And yes, they have social interaction. Like we have math club or math league where we go do math and there's the cliques and they hang out and eat lunch together and blah, blah, blah. But during the majority of the day, it's always you sneaking your phone out, taking a dumb picture of your leg or the ceiling or the floor or the person next to you or the teacher making a funny face or something and texting your friend over that picture.
Social interaction.
That's social interaction. Yeah. Why can't they do that at home? I understand it's not going to be as mentally healthy, right? Because you're not seeing that person physically.
Yeah, right.
But why can't they do that at home and get through it so they don't die? There's the extreme of dying. And that's why when you talk about the head of the American Pediatrics or whatever that guy was, that's where I kind of went, well, that doesn't really make sense, right?
Right. And I'll tell you, you're making total sense. It's a temporary thing. And just a thought, I think, and this includes our president, we as a human being or as a race or as a group, as society, has gotten used to this freaking need for instant gratification. Everything has to happen instantly. I order my food, I need it right now. I turn on my media, it needs to happen now. I click on this, it needs to happen now. I cannot wait for the next thing that I want to have happen. And when people are in this virus state that we're in, when they're in the lockdowns and when they're in the quarantines, they're like, well, how come I can't have my, how come we can't be done with it? Hasn't it been long enough? I need to get back to normal now. I need to have my my stuff now. And that's not how science works. Science actually is not something that can be instantly gratified. It takes a period of time for experimentation to take place, and then for theories to be drawn, and then for a consensus to be drawn. It takes time. You cannot instantly get your vaccine. You're going to have to go through trials. You're going to have to go through experimentation to get your vaccine. And I think a lot of society's problem is with modern things. We've just become this way that, I get my meal now. It's all about the instant gratification. I ask you a question, I get the answer now. I want my vaccine now. I want my MTV. No, I think that's a big problem. And instead of having patience, you hear all this crap about ADD and acute deficiency of attention deficient. Just people lose their minds because they don't have the ability to be patient.
Yeah. I could see that, especially with my generation. We're the technology bugs.
Right.
Of course, your generation was too in the 80s, but...
Well, we were inventing it. I mean, not us personally, but...
Well, you weren't inventing it. You were just going, ooh, there's a thing called JavaScript now, and,
well, I don't...
You're making it more advanced.
The only technology I had in the 80s was a Walkman.
I know, you did, but all the goobers that started... going, this computer fad.
Oh, yeah, the personal computer came out, yeah. The Macintosh was there, and it's just, that was a glorified typewriter as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, we're considered the technology age because we're growing up knowing how to text and drive. And that's
knowing how to text and drive is not something you can do.
We text and drive the most because we grew up with a phone in our hands that could text.
Yep.
And that's where the whole text and drive thing is mostly coming from. It's also coming from the millennials a lot and older generations that have picked it up. But our generation, Gen Z, and a little bit of millennials have known to text before they could drive.
Right. And so then they just it's just like us eating and driving.
Yeah.
It's putting our makeup on and driving.
Yep.
That's all.
So that's just
before we drove.
That's a broad example that's saying we're the technology people because it's been around in our lifetime.
I don't disagree with that.
Time.
I mean, I totally agree with that.
So with that technology, going back to your point of that, I need it now without waiting a little while, having a little patience. I think my generation would probably be the worst of that because we've got online shopping. We've got instant social media, Snapchat. It has like trends, streaks.
Yep.
If you don't reply in this certain time, your streak's gonna end. You can't have your streak in because Snapchat's making money.
That is so weird. Some of that stuff that I see, and I see it because I was raised without it. So when I see that stuff, it's very weird. It kind of, I'll tell you what, the first thing that made me go, oh really? Was the like button on things. Since when did anyone give two shits about what I thought about something?
Just a simple text.
I don't know where I saw it. Maybe it was on YouTube or something. It's on everything now.
It's on everything.
But my first, this seems a little weird, was when I started seeing this like button and the idea that you had to, why is it so important to like something? Here's the thing. That is inherently bad.
Yep.
Because we went through our whole lives with our opinions, and we talked our opinions, sort of how we are doing right now, but I could give two shits what you think about it.
Yeah.
Fill up the comment section all you want. I'm not going to give a crap about it.
Unless there's, the only time you give a crap is there's some new evidential discovery that, proves something wrong. That you're like, oh, that exists?
Yes. Yeah, discovery, scientific discovery, I care about that. But Joe Blow's, opinion about something I said.
The color red.
Who gives a fuck? Yeah. Whether it's bad or good.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No. And
And the fact that this generation grew up with those buttons, and
it's
the thing,
really scary.
And like you said, what did you call it? The trending or the things?
The streaks.
Streaks, yeah. What the fuck is that? That is just weird.
It's manipulation.
It's manipulation. It's a weird, dark thing. It's part of the dark side of humanity.
And I know
it shouldn't be out there. Really.
I'm probably.
You guys need to come up with not caring about that crap.
I know, because I'm probably actually. My personal view on that is not my generation's view. So our little, how we have our description on our podcast, the view across the generation gap,
right?
Which this is in a way, because I'm Gen Z and you're Gen X or whatever, 50 versus.
I think we're tweeners. We're between Generation Z and the one before that. I think
Z, not Z.
I mean X. I once again didn't care.
Yeah.
Didn't freaking care.
So there is a view there, but on this topic, my generation would not agree when I say that's bullcrap. I am very anti-social media. The only social media I do have is Discord, which is a gaming website where you talk to. It's for gamers. I don't game, but it's like when gamers, they have their headsets on, they're talking to each other. They use that to talk to each other while they're playing their video games.
Mm-hmm.
You can also, why I like it is because it's a nerdy social media. You program bots and stuff to do stuff for you in it. It's very, you use C++, whatever, to program this stuff. So you can play your nerdy games and stuff, video games. It's all geek based. That's the only social media I have. And even that has the dumb likes and stuff like that because it is social media. But
that I piss on Facebook.
Yep.
Piss off on
which even I
Twitter.
don't think Facebook is as bad as Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat is the worst of all of them.
Well,
because
we don't have any of those, and there's a
Snapchat,
reason your mom and I don't have any of those.
Yep.
And the reason we don't, because I saw that as a darkness.
Yep.
It was not a good human thing. There was
it's social connection.
Weird,
it has a good idea. It's social connection.
You would think,
but text is better than that. Like,
my text is better. Mm-hmm. What my first thing about Facebook when it came out, I was like, oh, good. So now I can I can show the slideshows of my vacation on the computer.
Yeah.
You know what? My generation, or hopefully most of them, and maybe more of what we thought about going to someone's house at a dinner party and then looking at their vacation slideshows. Boring, it was dumb. It was like talking about the weather. It's like, do you not have anything more interesting? These were people that didn't have anything more interesting in their lives, or were so freaking self-involved that they thought that I gave a shit about them on their cruise. No, hey, glad you went on your cruise. Don't really need to live it with you.
Yeah.
And
it's nice to be respectful and look at their pictures.
It is nice to be respectful, but you got to understand
those attitudes. Care?
Those attitudes, they're diving into some part of the human psyche that it's very narcissistic.
And you want to go back to the pediatric guy, and he's talking about mental health. I have a cousin. I was listening to this on the radio that Slacker and Steve or whatever plays around here. They were talking about how email, if you send an email instead of text, that's rude. Bullshit. If you put periods in your text and correct grammatical, punctuation, you put periods and you capitalize your letters, that's rude. You're making it sound mean.
Well, you see, those are the, and here I have a
mental
question.
Health.
Mental health. Who is that guy? Who's that guy saying that? That
was just a radio. They were saying this is the new trends. Well, they weren't necessarily agreeing with this. They weren't agreeing with this. They were saying this is what millennials and Gen Z feel is the norm. They feel if you put periods on your text, you're trying to be mean. Here's some examples. My cousin, she was literally having breakdowns, like crying, breakdowns, over the way the text sounded. How are you putting emotion into a piece of writing.
Exactly. No.
The thing about phone calls, even, if you're on the phone, you can say whatever the hell you want because you're not looking at that person in their face.
But you still hear the
emotion. If you're typing it,
there's no context.
There's no emotional context whatsoever.
Right.
It's just however your dumb little voice in your brain while you're reading it makes it sound.
Yep.
So when
make sure you clarify that, Hayden.
Yeah,
it's not your voice; it's the receiver's voice in their head.
Yes,
that's what
the receiver's voice.
That's dangerous.
When they listen to these trends, like periods are bad.
Yeah.
Next time they read a text and somebody's put a period, it says, "Have a nice day," and you can put that in any tone, like "Have a nice day," mocking, "Have a nice day," like serious.
Yep.
But oh my gosh, it has a period. They must be mocking me.
How about punctuation? Here's something else. Punctuation was invented to help readers convey emotion.
Yes.
And it's very sloppy, don't get me wrong, but it is better than nothing.
In works of literature.
Yes, in works of literature.
It's not meant to convey emotion in talking to someone text to text. When you're trying to convey emotion in text is when you're writing a work of literature, a poem, a book, a short story, whatever.
Well, I think it should be in texts. I think because people do you're talking about your cousin getting upset at these texts. Well, if there was little punctuation in there, maybe it would help her understand the context and the emotion in which the text was written.
But the punctuation, here's why there shouldn't be emotion. I disagree with you because it's been taken so far to where that punctuation does not mean what it means in works of literature. And that's why my generation has so hard of a time reading works of literature in lit class. And they go, what? That's what that means? Because we're so used to our dumb little devices and those social trends of that punctuation meaning this, that we don't interpret it right when we're reading old literature. Let's just say American literature typically is in a college class. What I did this past year, where I'd interpret it something totally different than what the next guy next to me and the professor would interpret it different than even us. But when he explained it, I think I could connect more by not having those dumb social things, whereas other people went, what? And I'm like, well, I kind of actually saw that because I haven't been using, punctuation's bad, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I tell my friends, don't text me. Email me. And here's why. In my emails, I use all the correct punctuation, capitalization. They may not. I do.
Right.
I think it's a good practice for me.
Yep.
And this was mostly because my text ran out. I have a track phone. So it was all based on my textual things. And when I text, I try to do correct punctuation and capitalization. And if anybody feels, he's yelling at me, he's doing this, it's not, because that's just how I text. It's grammatically correct.
Well, our grasp on language has deteriorated through the years. So people used to speak a lot more elegant than they do.
Well, if you just want to
read the Constitution of the United States, for example, you can clearly understand. Yeah, you can clearly understand the meaning of that writing because there were more adjectives to describe the nouns. There were more adverbs to describe the words.
And that is a very emotional document.
Hell yeah. The Declaration of Independence, that's a bunch of people saying, wait a minute, we're not going to live by your laws anymore. And we're telling you, it's not just, hey, dude, fuck off. It's, no, here is why we don't want you to control us. Here's what you're doing wrong. This is why we think you're a bad person. And this is what we're going to do to change it.
Yep.
That's... The amount of words in that document, if that were written today, would be shortened to, hey, get off my freaking step, man.
Yep. And even if you want to go back 500 years ago to England, their word count, even the peasants, common working people, 15,000 words in their known dictionary. Today, to somebody that could be compared to peasant, middle class, normal Joe, 3,000 words.
Yeah, we don't use the language like it was intended. And when Stephen Hawking said all we really need to do is keep talking, he meant all we really need to do is keep using our language.
Yep.
Because if we don't use...
this is just English language. There's all kinds of different language. You can go to, let's just say Spanish, very close, what a lot of people learn because you need a third language or second
Latin
language.
Is the base to all languages.
To get into college. But, Latin is the base. If you want to really understand mathematics, you learn Latin.
Yep.
But the thing about languages is we're talking about strictly English language. Even those other languages like Spanish, they're a very dramatic, emotional. It's a very dramatic, emotional culture. Their language, represents that, and they can have meanings of words that we have meaning to today. Like we could say something in our language. Their translation could have a way different emotional meaning to where that talking. Keeping that emotional flair, I almost feel, is better because it just has more meaning than maybe a plain word that English has.
I think it's a relatable thing.
And it's a relatable thing. That's what I'm trying to get at. We need to keep our language up because all these different languages have the same problem. The English language and what people are talking about today, it's going on right now in all languages. We're losing...
the relatability.
Word count,
we're losing the context.
Yes.
We're not able to you can't really get your thought across or your point across if the other person doesn't have a common frame of reference.
And that's why I feel that when they make texts in the social media thing rad emotional and you have breakdowns over it, why?
It's almost as if the designers of such thing were just short-sighted. Or it's an example of a miracle of science being used for the wrong reasons.
Well, I think it's more... The designers, I think, had good intent. It was all about a picture thing, sharing your pictures, right? Facebook, Instagram.
I go back to why does anybody give a shit about your vacation photos?
I know, but still...
Only people with that mindset, only the narcissists... I don't mean to interrupt, but really, I think only the narcissists are going to latch on to that. Only other people who feel or believe that way, hey, he shared his vacation photos, I want to share my vacations. It's like a one-upper syndrome.
Yep, and I agree with that because today... Today it's been pushed back to a point. Instagram filters, Snapchat filters, blah, blah, blah. You have to look your best and your surroundings have to look your best in the photo, which is another mental health toll. It's no longer vacation photos. It's, I need to take a picture of me every day or every hour or whatever, and I have to look beautiful.
But it's not reality. What's going on in your brain?
And that's such a mental toll because, yes, I need my followers to like this photo, so I have to dress this way. You don't need to put that mental stress on yourself. You don't have to listen to the likes or the little like button, the comments saying, "Oh, you're ugly," right? You're ugly. You're in this photo. I don't like this in your background. Blah blah blah. You don't have to put that mental strain on yourself through social media. That's why I disagree with the way social media is set up, both textual-wise and, the photos are doing the same thing. It's no longer vacation photos.
No, I see. That's a good point. And I'm beyond that. You can see it. I know that crap exists, and when I intellectualize it, I just see badness. What good is coming out of taking your picture with a filter on to make you look like, you have no imperfections, that you are the visual ideal of what your brain and society's brain also, for that matter, thinks is perfection. So you're not really, it's the opposite. Dude, it's almost evil. Think about it. It is the opposite. If our innate human desire is to try and hunt down perfection in ourselves, in our actions, and we're not actually doing the work to become the perfect mathematician, the perfect firefighter, the perfect teacher, the perfect anything, if we're not actually doing that, if we're not taking our interests and actually striving to be the perfect whatever we're interested in, and we're using this technology to fake it. What is that? Where is that? What are you going to end up with?
That's just
what is the end game on that? You don't have a perfect firefighter, then. You have a fake firefighter. You have a fake teacher. You have a fake actor. Well, I mean, actors are actors, but you know what I'm saying? Then you end up with fake people.
But that's going into the search of perfect, and you know.
I know that was a deep metaphor to use, if we can say that. But I'm just saying.
It does connect to that, but you know, that's almost another topic. The search for human perfection.
No, yeah, I didn't mean to get deep on that. Don't harp on my words. Come on. This program is us communicating, so let's not lose it. Yeah. What I meant, and you know what I meant.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, then just go with that.
I don't know, really. It's hard because, you know, you have those thoughts and feelings. Me and you seem to have similar thoughts and feelings. We do disagree on some stuff, but is that our representation of our generation? Because I don't think so.
Well, it can't be, bud. It can't be. And here's the thing: we're kind of bashing social media here, but I tell you, one of the recent things that you brought up that happened here recently with the TikTok was how kids trolled Trump's little rally in Tulsa.
Yeah, I saw that happen. We basically, well, I didn't, but my generation that didn't feel with his political opinions, didn't feel affiliated with him or just basically against him.
Yeah.
Because they were free and they were open to the public.
Right.
Bought up a bunch of tickets, or didn't buy, but reserved.
Yep.
And made it so other people couldn't buy those that did support him, and then didn't go because, of course, they didn't support him.
They went a step further. They trolled his ass. It was this was on Coming Home Friday night on 1A. They do the weekly news roundup. And they had excerpts of TikTok where the one girl got on there and she goes, "Hey, everybody, you know how you guys do on social media. I went and got my tickets for the rally. I'm so excited. I'm so looking forward to..." Oh, shoot. I just remembered. That night is the night I'm supposed to pick all the lint off of my carpet and arrange it from biggest to smallest, so I won't be making the show. Oh my God, I was dying. And this was a kid doing this. Yeah. I mean, a teenager, someone in your generation.
My generation did do this. That's just a TikTok video trying to be funny, you know, for her followers.
Yeah, but whatever it is, it's still
there was action in reality. That bought those tickets to take away spots from real supporters.
So, to shut it down, and you know, maybe they had idealistic reasons. You know, I'm going to help slow down the COVID-19 by keeping people from going. Who knows? Maybe they just wanted to troll Trump and being, you know, your typical.
Which isn't you know, I don't support that just because. You should be able to state your opinions.
Yes, trolling is kind of weird.
But personally, I'm like, haha, but...
Right, because we have bias.
You're biased there.
We have bias. We don't like Trump, so anything don't like Trump. Anti-Trump, we're going to be biased about.
Yep. But in all reality, you should be able to have your supporters while you explain your opinion. That's how political things happen in the past. Back in Lincoln's day, you'd stand up on the podium and have a debate with your opponent.
Yeah.
While campaigning, and you know it's important to hear those and make your own opinions off that. So it's almost important, even if you don't support Trump, to go to his rally. If you're trying to experiment and say, "Oh, I want to know if I like this dude. I'm going to go there and listen to what he has to say."
Here's the thing. That's an old-fashioned brain, though.
That I know.
The problem is back in Lincoln's day, what Lincoln was saying, and I don't know who he ran against, what they said in their debates was the honest-to-God truth of what was in their heart.
You don't know that for a fact.
You're right, I don't. But I do know that Trump's says what he wants you to hear.
Yep. Well,
we don't
that's
know.
Just
the
going
only
more
thing
into your bias. I was just trying to make a point. The rally should happen. You should have political affiliate. You shouldn't have political affiliation. You should have opinions on political affiliation.
Right.
But we need that middle more. No, I'm not trying to destroy any of the what I've said before about needing to be independent or in the middle and have your own opinions about it. I'm trying to back it by saying, have your opinions, and trolling's not the right thing to do. I got a laugh out of it personally, but you should have your opinions.
Well, the people in the middle have to stand up to the extremists and go, yo, bud, that's a little way out there wacky, don't you think?
Yep.
And they don't. They've just gotten so frustrated.
And that's how you got. That's why I'm saying the rally should have happened, because if those people ever want to stand out and speak up, kind of like we're doing, you can use that.
You should be able to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, have formulated an opinion based on eyewitness account.
Yep. Also, just side note, I pulled something up here on the computer. This is for anybody listening and got interested on that whole 15,000 words versus 3,000 words. There's a comedian named John Branyan that does the Three Little Pigs, the old classic child story. It's very funny.
I've seen that guy do this.
And he does it in the old English language.
He does it, and if he used the amount of words today
that the typical peasant would have used back then, and he basically has broadened the English language, and he makes it funny because it's obviously a children's story,
right?
And
definitely worth checking out. I have heard that.
So if you just type
John
in
Branyan,
Three Little Pigs, old language, it's John Branyan. It pulls up first thing.
No, that is a great example of what we just talked about. How language has lost the ability to really relate the speaker's idea or point. To contextualize the ideas or the speaker's emotion. Yep. So, that's a great example of that. Totally great example.
Yep. So that was just a side note. If you want to continue on what we were talking about or anything.
I don't know. I think it was a good program. That's sounded like a good program.
Yeah.
Touched on social media there for a bit. I have an opinion that has been being formulated, and I'm going to put this in context. Your generation has had an iPhone in its hand since it could hold one.
Yeah.
Mama and Dada wanted to silent the baby, so instead of actually paying attention to the baby, they just put a phone in its hand. So as you put earlier, we're the generation where we've been texting before we were driving. That's true. And my generation, we have not. So the point of view in which I come
the millennials, the latter, the older half of them,
right,
haven't either.
Right. So there's a context that I can see that your generation cannot see.
Yep.
And I offer it, and it's going to fall, I know, on deaf ears.
Yep.
I offer it as a warning.
Yep.
It is not 100% without consequence.
Yep. Which, even I've been texting before I learned to drive. I didn't have a phone, though, before I learned to drive.
Right.
I hadn't had a license. I don't have it to this day. I did have a permit. I learned to drive. And then I got a phone for my 16th birthday. The COVID stuff made it so I couldn't get my license.
And then COVID came, so you couldn't go get your license.
But I feel that having a phone at a later age, which anybody in my generation that would be listening to that would go, what? Because everybody got phones. Almost the entire class had phones by 6th grade.
Your mom,
most people had it in elementary.
Your sister's friends, you know, that was one of the things. Your mom, they gave her a phone, and we're like, what? Yep. Why would she need a phone in the 5th grade?
Yep. Most kids had phones by elementary.
Yep.
Everybody had them by 6th grade.
Yep.
I was very, very, like, 1 or 2 people didn't. I was in the minority. And everybody had them by high school. especially even that minority, those 1 or 2 people, fell into peer pressure or something. They had them.
Well, no, I think. Well, we can't really pass judgment on that.
You can't
I
pass
think
judgment.
If you didn't get a phone until high school, your upbringing was probably similar to their upbringing. Yours, where we figured that you really didn't need the phone.
Nope.
For reasons other than getting in contact with us should there be an emergency. You were going to start driving, and you were going to be wandering further away from the house. So let's have.
And that's why you got the phone, because I had my permit for a few months. You're going, oh, this is real.
But our intentions for using the technology were
not social media.
No,
not
they were for texting, noble reasons, for communication, simply.
Communication towards mainly me and the parents. Of course, I have friends, but no social media. I don't have social media other than Discord.
I mean, be honest. Do you want it? Do you want Facebook? Do you want Instagram? Do you want it?
Peer pressure so hard by mostly girls in my school to get Snapchat.
Right.
So they can have another friend or whatever on their Snapchat. Because when you look at these girls' Snapchat pages, they scroll 4 minutes through the amount of people they have.
So they're not looking at the content of the Snapchat. They're just scrolling.
You click on it. You go. And they're friends. They'll click on it. They'll read it. Blah blah blah. Reply. You click on it. Take a picture. Send. Click on it. Take a picture. Send. Click on it. Take a picture. Send. It's that bad. And there's literally hundreds of people that they scroll through that they do this to.
So it's a numbers thing. They actually have people that are friends streaks. That they don't really give 2 shits about. They just want to have the number.
They try and make it like a game almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dark side of the human psyche. Do not want the
social media, because I've been peer pressured by several people, mostly girls in my class, in both schools that I've gone to.
Right. Yeah.
Both school systems, I should say.
That's a dark side of the human psyche that is being exercised, and we're going to be in deep shit if we don't get a handle on that.
So yeah, I think what you need to wrap up with, like what our point is watch out for social media.
Yes, it's fake.
Don't fall into the mental strain that it can give you. Yes, when the guy says on Pediatric there's a mental health thing to social interaction, yet the social interaction we already have today is flawed. And what it's becoming through this social media, it's not right. It's not good intention. It's not hearty social discourse.
Texting is not a way to communicate. Texting should be to give a quick, I'm on my way to the store, or something like that. Really. It should be just to say...
If you want to have a conversation, give a phone call.
Yes. Or do it in person.
Yeah.
Do it in person so the full emotional context of what point you're trying to convey gets across to the other person as best as you can for your generation, because you're growing up without that. So hopefully there is something instinctual or inherent in our brains and our psyche that will allow us to continue to get from a personal interaction the context and the meaning behind the words. I know it's not going to happen if you keep texting it.
Yep.
Especially without punctuation.
It's just, yep. It's just all those different things. Just, I guess what our point that we're trying to say is watch out for them. Like, don't fall into the mental strain of needing to have a mental breakdown because someone didn't put a period on their text.
Well, don't think it's more important to create a fake world and a fake reality than it is to live in your actual reality. Find your interests. They are in you.
Yep.
And then exploit the interests through actually doing something, not faking it by photographs and texts and that.
Yeah.
And email us at Conversation Transfer, because piss on Facebook, piss on Instagram, and piss on, what's the other
Twitter,
one?
Snapchat.
Yeah, all bite me. If you want to, it's an email, brother. That's what it is, and that's why that's all we do. Conversation Transfer at gmail.com.
It is, yes. If you like this episode, you could try more on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, which is weirdly still pending. I don't know why. But Google Podcasts or on our hosting website, Spreaker. Stay safe.
I got it off of iTunes, so there you go.
Good.
And I apologize for the first episodes. Maybe tune in to this episode, because maybe we've worked out our engineering problems.
I don't know.
Forget those.
You know what?
ones.
If you want to see how we start, we got some good ideas still, if you can hear us. Anyway, see ya.
See ya.